Hello, I'm Mike Groman, Assistant Professor of Physical Therapy at Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York. My co-authors, Doctors Jesse Binder, Robert Kitchen, Sarah Litzinger, Alex Wiley, and I are excited to share an overview of our recent research titled The Effects of Adding Supplemental Abdominal Muscle Strengthening to Improve Expiratory Pulmonary Function, a pilot study. Our study was a preliminary project exploring how targeted training of the anterior lateral abdominal muscles, primarily the external obliques, the internal obliques, and transverse abdominis, might influence expiratory performance in trained female athletes. The literature indicated that respiratory muscle training enhances strengthening and ventilatory efficiency. However, traditionally, rectus abdominis is considered the primary muscle during forced expiration. Studies such as those by Abraham and colleagues published in the Journal of Physiology demonstrate that several abdominal muscles, including the obliques and transverse abdominis, activate to coordinate effort to support expiration. The evidence raised the question, can strengthening these deeper muscles further enhance expiratory function in athletes who are performing an established in-season training program that already included core strengthening exercises primarily focusing on rectus abdominis? We recruited 22 female Division I middle and long distance runners, a population known for strong baseline ventilatory mechanics. Over 8 weeks, these athletes incorporated our 7 intervention exercises into their already established 3 times per week in-season strength training recovery program. The evidence-based exercises were prescribed to achieve dynamic neuromuscular control and core stabilization of our study's target muscles. Before and after the intervention, we performed standardized spirometry using a Micro 1 diagnostic spirometer and followed the 2019 ATS and ERS technical update measurements of FEV1, FVC, FEV1 over FVC ratio, and peak expiratory flow rate. In addition, the Delsis Trigno wireless EMG system measured the surface electromyography and recorded the activity of the study's core muscles during maximum voluntary contraction. Our analysis showed that although the changes did not reach statistical significance within our confidence interval, 3 of the 4 spirometry measurements exhibited strong effect sizes. This indicated practical rather than statistical conclusive improvements in expiratory performance. Conversely, EMG amplitudes decreased after training, which initially seemed counterintuitive. However, this pattern has been observed in studies that discussed amplitude cancellation, synchronizing effect in trained athletes, primarily the article by Keenan et al. In 2006. The reduced EMG amplitude can also be attributed to greater neuromuscular efficiency rather than less muscle activation. Overall, our data suggests that low repetition, moderate load core exercises targeting the obliques and transverse abdominis may not be sufficient to produce statistically detectable gains within an 8-week in-season program. Still observed effect sizes and small mean increases hint at a higher training frequency and volume consistent with meta-analysis on strengthening adapted by Ralston and colleagues in 2018, which could yield more measurable outcomes. Given the strong physiological rationale and modest positive trends, future studies will increase sample size, include a control group to achieve adequate statistical power. Increasing the repetitions and focusing on the intervention during off-season will also negate any in-season training effects and help to determine whether these muscle-specific interventions can meaningfully improve pulmonary function. In summary, adding 7 anterior lateral abdominal exercises at 10 repetitions each to a training routine of collegiate runners resulted in a small but consistent improvement in their expiratory performance. This performance was not statistically significant, however, and therefore the findings point to a potential direction of optimizing respiratory conditioning strategies that we're going to be targeting in future research. Like other emerging areas of performance science, larger groups and the insight gained from this research to improve protocols will be essential for further understanding of how targeted core muscle strengthening affects respiratory mechanics and for guiding future studies on running athletes and their breathing performance. Thank you for watching.